to mundo fine, night train to the end. Running hard and running fast to meet my future and away from my past. Taking the gamble that cannot last. Night train to the end.
Oh, hey everyone, this is the Frater SH Night Show, and we got a story here of a aerial counter. A shock moment. V-shaped UFO flies above Airbus A230 passenger jet. In video film from plane's cockpit, this is a shocking moment. A flight attendant spotted a V-shaped UFO flying above an Airbus A230 passenger jet. An extraordinary footage was captured from this cockpit at 39,000 feet by a sky-watching cabin crew trying to take a snap at the Milky Way. The anonymous steward shared the sightings with the popular YouTube account UFO Mania, as both he and the captain agreed that they should remain anonymous. The aircraft was said to have been flying over Georgia when the baffled staff saw this particular display in the skies. In the video shot on an iPhone 13 Pro Max, the dark airspace was illuminated by an array of glowing lights. The flight attendant explained he began trying to take a video of another aircraft flying just above us, opposite direction, at 40,000 feet when he noticed the unusual object. He continued, as I was filming the aircraft fly over us, I noticed this V-shaped object appear. It appears to have between us and another aircraft. The awestruck mutterings of the airline crew could be fairly heard as they continue to watch the glimmering UFO. Okay, back from a little break. My website is lulu.com/spotlight/FraterSH. That is with no capitals and no spaces. And back to the news story. He added that nothing been reported to the Federal Aviation Administration or Air Traffic Control to explain the strange encounter. The clip was originally submitted to the online UFO. To the website, the UFO Stalker, which regularly discusses unexplained sightings across the world. It is believed to have been filmed in the early hours of Monday morning while the passenger plane passed over Georgia. UFO enthusiasts praised the flight attendant for managing to document the great sighting, while others joked the colors resembled traffic lights. One recommended, "Take me, Mr. UFO, great catch, well done," another added, while a third extraterrestrial fanfic wrote, "I saw a whole line of these colorful things in a line moving across the sky several years ago. It was surreal. I watched them for 30 minutes. Naked Alien. The YouTube clip has already been viewed over 4,000 times just one day since being uploaded. But one skeptical user suggested it could be a hoax after analyzing the quality of the footage. They said that the video of the object and then a quick view of the cockpit don't seem to tally up. Quality is very different, and when resuming the object, there seems to be a very clumsy edit. Could it be a hoax? It comes from a hunter claimed to be captured evidence of a naked alien after the creature ran past his trail camera in a notorious UFO hotspot. Donald Bromley took the snap of the strange, bulbous-headed figure darting by in an area known as Redgate in Montana. The strange image has surfaced amid a surging interest in UFOs as Congress and Senate voted for a brand new office to investigate the phenomena. It turns out to be a landmark Pentagon report in June that saw the U.S. admit for the first time that there is something in the skies I can't explain. Okay, next story. Okay. Gravitational forces of the sun and moon impact the behavior of all organisms, even humans. Maybe there really is something to the stories that strange things happen during a full moon. A new study finds that all biological organisms, from plants to animals to human beings, all have a connection to the gravitational forces coming from the sun and moon. Researchers from Brazil and the United Kingdom say that their work reinforces the historical link between the gravitational tides and how they affect the behavior of all life on Earth. All matter on Earth, both live and inert, experiences the effects of the gravitational forces of the sun and moon, expressed in the form of tides. The periodic oscillations exhibit two daily cycles, and they are modulated monthly and annually by the motions of these two celestial bodies. All organisms on the planet have evolved in this context. What we sought to show in the article is that gravitational tides are a perceptible and potent force, and there have been shaped the rhythmic activities of these organisms. Study author Christina Del Mello Galep says in a media release. The team reviewed past studies and also conducted experiments of their own, examining both how both planets and animals set their biological clocks to the movement of these celestial objects. The new study shows that even when organisms don't have light to judge the time of day, their bodies alter their behavior according to the gravitational tides acting on the planet. And the data shows that in the absence of other rhythmic influences such as lighting or temperature, local gravitational tides are sufficient to organize the cyclic behavior of these organisms. This evidence questions the validity of so-called free run experiments in which several experimental factors are controlled, but gravitational oscillations are not taken into consideration. The oscillations continue to exist and many modulate the behavior of living organisms, Gallup explains. Body rhythms don't sync with night and day, better known as circadian rhythm, are a popular topic in sleep studies. Despite their importance to sleep patterns and general health, the researchers found that they could take creatures out of their natural light in dark environments, and they still maintained a regular body rhythm cycle in line with sun-moon tidal forces. One of these animals are crustaceans, such as crabs and lobsters. These animals modulate their behavior in tune with the ebb and flow of the tides in a cycle of approximately 12.4 hours that derive from the luma-solar dynamics. Even when they're moved to a laboratory with stable, controlled aquatic conditions, Gallup says the pattern persists for several days, matching luminosaur tidal timing at the time. Timing, I mean at the, yeah, timing at the site where the organisms are collected in nature. The team notes that even though the gravitational effects of the sun and the moon have a fraction of the impact on Earth's gravity has on life, it's still enough to cause change to the oceans, lakes, planets, tectonic plates. In experiments conducted the sprouting of seeds, the team found that even plants make periodic adjustments to these cycles. I observed the changes in the signal collected appearing every 12 to 24 hours, but differed in each germination test. When I looked for support for the literature, I found studies pointing to a possible correlation with gravitational tides. We explored this phenomena in subsequent tests in various types of seed, and also added results obtained in the laboratory by collaborators in Prague, Czech Republic, and Leiden, Netherlands, and in Hamamatsu, Japan. Gallup concludes to sync up with the moon. Previous studies have revealed that people can also sync up with the moon cycles when they don't get enough sunlight. Study authors note that humans study in the dark for long periods of time like living in a cave, still establish a cyclic function of 24.4 to 24.8 hours, which is a harmony with a lunar cycle. The body rhythm cycle manages a person's sleeping and wake times, meal times, and other metabolic processes. Okay, next story. The sun used to have rings like Saturn. Those rings of dust may have prevented Earth from growing into a super Earth. Before Earth and other planets in our solar system existed, the sun may have been surrounded by giant rings of dust similar to Saturn, according to a new study. Those rings of dust may have prevented Earth from growing into a super Earth, a type of planet that is about twice the size of Earth and is up to 10 times its mass. According to NASA's astronomers have discovered, super Earth orbiting about 30% of the sun-like stars in our galaxy. The occurrence of the super Earth and some of the other solar systems left astronomers with some unanswered questions, namely, if super Earths are super common, why don't we have one in the solar system? Andre Isidoro, an astrophysicist at the Rice University in Houston, Texas, said in a statement, to find out, Isidoro and his colleagues created a computer simulation model of the formation of the solar system, which emerged from the ashes of collapsed cloud of dust and gas known as a solar nebula. Their simulations suggest that the pressure of bumps or high pressure regions of gas and dust would have surrounded the infant sun. These areas of high pressure likely resulted when particles moved toward the sun under its strong gravitational pull, heated up and released large amounts of vaporized gas. The simulation showed that there were likely three distinct areas for solid particles vaporized in gas called sublimation lines. In the line closest to the sun, or the hottest zone, solids solicited turned into gas. In the middle line, ice would have been heated up enough to turn into gas, and in the furthest line, carbon monoxide became a gas. Solid particles like dust sort of rammed into these bumps and began to accumulate. The accumulation showed the effect of the pressure bump is that it collects dust particles, and that's why we see rings. To author Andrea Azelia, an associate professor of physics and astronomy of Rice University, said that the statement that these pressure bumps didn't exist. The sun would have had quickly gobbled up the particles, not leaving any seeds for the planets to grow. One needs something to stop them in order to give them the time to grow into planets, as Liz said. With age, the gas and dust surrounding the sun cooled down, and the sublimation lines inch closer to the sun. The process allowed the dust to accumulate into platesimals, or asteroid-sized seeds of planets that could then come together to form planets. Our model shows pressure bumps can concentrate dust, and moving pressure bumps can act as a placentimal factories, as Adora said. The pressure bumps regulate how much material has been made, was available to form planets in the inner solar system, as Adora said in the statement. According to the simulation, the nearest ring to the sun formed the planets to the inner solar system: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. The middle Earth could ultimately become the planets of the outer solar system, while the outermost ring formed the comets, asteroids, and other small bodies in the Kuiper Belt, the region beyond the orbit of Neptune. What's more, the researchers found that if they simulated the delayed formation of the middle ring, super Earth may have formed in the solar system. By the time the pressure bump formed, In those cases, a lot of mass have already invaded the inner system and was available to make super Earths, Isadora said. By the time when this middle Earth pressure bump formed, it may be a key aspect of the solar system. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Okay, one more story. And it's called Have Archaeologists Finally Discovered the Long Lost Temple of Hercules? Archaeologists in Spain have found the remains of a series of buildings, which they believe to be the lost Temple of Hercules. Researchers in Spain found the remains of a series of buildings, which they believe to be the temple of Greco-Roman mythological hero Hercules, using information obtained through documentary and archaeological data. Researchers from the territorial delegation of the University of Seville conducted a number of research trips to the area between Chicola de Frontier and San Fernando and Andalusia, Spain. The information obtained from these trips revealed a different environment from what was previously believed to have existed in the area. Researchers now believe that there was a coastline that was anthropomorphized, transformed, or adapted by people with a possible dock. The newly discovered information about the area matches information about the Temple of Hercules from ancient writers of the time. In order to confirm their suspicions, the archaeologists who investigate the area and the data have about it have attempted to reconstruct the history and determine the chronology, typology, and uses of each of the structures they discovered. Hercules was known as to the Romans as Melkart, a heroic figure of Greek mythology who was adapted to fit Roman mythology. As a son of Zeus or Jupiter, Hercules was a demigod who had various adventures. He is considered the god of strength and heroes. The Temple of Hercules is well known to have been a popular pilgrimage site thousands of years ago and has believed to have been visited by the likes of Julius Caesar, but its location was lost, and archaeologists have been seeking it for years. Researchers have been very reluctant to turn archaeology into a spectacle, but in this case we were faced with some spectacular findings. Jose Garcia, director of the University of Seville's Prehistory Department, told El País. Okay, so there's an interesting little comment. It says Melkart is the Phoenician name of Tyre, Sor's god in Canaan, Lebanon. Milk equals king, Kart means city. He is known, identified as Hercules by the Greeks and Hercules by the Romans. Let's see, let's check out more here. No, there's not more. Okay, so that was from the Jerusalem Post. So I'm going to talk about that. So, from books like The Two Babylons and my various occult books, Hercules is a long tradition. The original version of Hercules was Baal, and or Beelzebub, or Baal, or where you say it, Bel, or and it goes back to Baal in the Grove, and I actually got a book. I forgot the author's name, but it deals with the history of Israel during the time when they started to fall into that kind of pagan worship, and you have Baal in the Grove. So what happens is, after the Tower of Babel had collapsed, all these people from around the world that had now different languages God had given them these different languages. They spread out across the earth. There's some books I got. One is from a guy named Faber. He'll talk. He actually says that the religions around the world, you will find that they have corrupted Bible stories. That actually, even the ones that worshipped other gods, that you can find that usually those gods usually were changed. They were usually like Adam, or they were Noah, changed into these gods. And it's just again, it's the idolatry of man, that man has a tendency to worship other men and take other men that were mighty and glorious during their time, and just start worshiping them. So actually, you know what? I'll go get it and get some of that and quote it. Yeah, see, what you're going to find is a lot of these pagan deities like Dagon, and I love the sea based ones, Poseidon. They're all very much connected to one another. Even Hercules has a connection in many ways, even Dagon and some of the others. And here's the thing: it's interesting. There's even a garden story with Hercules dealing with a golden apple. Well, that makes Hercules be like a form of Adam. And so what it is, you have the original. So that's why, to me, like those first chapters of Genesis are so precious to me, because like, they really, deal with how the world. This is the what the world's original stories were, but then they got perverted. They got changed, and so yeah. And I'm just starting to get into Faber's books. I had just received them. I'm originally into like the two Babylons, and that's the original story of the world. Coming from out of Babylon, how their style belief systems in they believed in basically a father god, mother god, and a son, and they believed in a triune type of system that has really kind of survived the test of time. And in fact, with Babylon, that's actually where you get the sort of the kind of hoods, the KKK wears down in the South. They wear those hoods and they burn those crosses. Well, basically, the Babylonians, when they had their different holiday festivals, they would do these kind of Bale in the Grove type rituals of burning crosses, and they would wear these hooded gowns and hoods, and that have carried on to even over here, to what you've seen in the last 300 some years. So really, that's the end of the show. But again, a lot of times these stories, they allow me to bring up some stuff that I've dug up too. But I do like doing these like fresh stories, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. Well, have a good day.